everybody, welcome back to the shop here at Tucson Acres. So today I got my 95 Honda Accord in here and I'm going to change out the expansion valve for the AC system and the filter dryer. I'm going to go ahead and get all this done. I'll put the camera up in front. You can kind of watch what's going on. And as I run into little problems here and there, I'll let you know. One of the nice things about working on these cars is almost everything is an 8, 10, or 12 millimeter. So my favorite tool is my little DeWalt DCF 850, the super compact dude. I throw a little 1/4 inch attachment on there and zip everything out super fast. I need to let you know though, if you're going to be working on your AC system, you need to get the system evacuated professionally unless you have a way of doing it legally. Mine is already empty, so you know there's nothing I can do about that. If you don't have one of these little Nebo headlights, holy crap is it awesome. Bunch of different modes, and I'll tell you what, it is super bright and it charges really quick and it lasts for almost 2 hours, which is pretty crazy. I actually bought a second one just because it lasts so long. All right, first thing, we'll get this battery out of here, break the lines open, and you can see gauges are hooked up and it's empty, so I'm not worried about breaking the lines open. Just got started, I already dropped the fastener. Battery trays out. There's that fastener. 19 millimeter will break the air dryer loose. Nice set of ratcheting wrenches. You cannot go wrong. Alright, so you can take a quick look here at what I'm seeing. So a battery came out, battery tray comes out, and I loosen the 2 lines going into the air dryer down here. Let me turn my lamp up high. There we go. So loosen these 2 fittings. I got the first line loose, slide it out of the way, and then there's 2 bolts to hold this bracket on because that back line is kind of rigid, so you can't really push it out of the way. So I'm going to pull both of these bolts, which I already started. This is where having that ratcheting wrench is amazing. Once you pull this bracket out of its little detent, there's a little pick there on the end. You can wiggle your dryer out of that hose. And I'll be replacing those O-rings since I'm at it. Okay, that's out. Now since I'm already under the hood, I'm going to go ahead and get my cruise control out of the way. You know what, this will be easier if I just pull my air filter off, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick. Now this air filter obviously takes up a lot of space right here versus the stock filter, so you may or may not have to deal with this. I don't plan on disconnecting anything I ain't got to. If I can just pull this out of here, set it aside, that's what I'm going to do. There. Now you can get in here and see. We're going to have to break these lines loose down here so that we can get the evaporator core out on the inside. So to get these lines to pull back, you got to get it out of its holding bracket up front here. And once you start getting a whole bunch of these screws like this, just put them back in the hole. Get your bracket out of the way, put your screws back in, that way you're not losing nothing. You don't have to remember where everything goes. Alright, so there's also another bracket that holds that line in place. Right down here. Right where my finger is at. And it just has a little top shelf, you just undo it, and then that way this line will get out of the way and you can get the lower line. So basically everything the engine compartment's already done. Now we got to go ahead and get in the passenger floorboard side. Alright, so one last thing I forgot to mention here in the engine compartment is the grommet right here that goes through the firewall. Just push it down and get it started. I know it's going to be a pain in the butt to get back through. I'll use a pick to pull it back through from the other side, or from this side once I go to reinstall. But this will hold you up from pulling that thing through the firewall. Push in on 2 tabs on one side, and then the whole thing So right there, you push on these two tabs on the inside or on the outside of the glove box, and then it'll slip and fall out. Oh, it turns to the right, not to the left. That's a good thing to know. So that's the stopper on the right side, and it turns to the right to release, not the left. Now there's a release mechanism, or this guy here, which I'll just pull that out with the Phillips. All right, and then there's, I think, 2 Phillips screws on the bottom. Yeah, 1, 2 Phillips screws on the bottom. They have to come out. I'm sure once this is out, it's gonna fall on my face. All right, unlatch it, comes right out. All right, glove box is out. All right, so we got 4 fasteners to get this cross member out of the way. You got 2 Phillips screws, 1, 2, and 2 10mm bolts. 1, 2 is right inside here. Sorry about the lighting. All right, so that guy's loose. We'll go ahead and get these clips for the wires out of the way. So up top, we've got 1, 2, and 3 way up in the corner there. On the bottom, we got 1, 2, 3. There should be a 4th one right up here, but it's not there. I've taken this out before. This guy is the shit. There's one other cord right here we gotta disconnect. Drain tube is off. Well, it should pop right out. There it goes. Bazinga! Alright, so 45 minutes. I don't think that's too awfully bad to do all that work we just did. Look at that. Yummy. And I know I've taken this apart before. I can tell because I cut the seals. 3 screws and then these clips. And we just take a screwdriver, insert it into the clip, like so. Peel it back, the clip comes right off. Okay, that's like it. Pull this shell off of here. Whoa, Nelly, that is nasty. Gotta get this wire out of here. Just pulls out. Okay, there's our evaporator core. So you can see it is pretty disgusting. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up. I'll do that off camera, but basically, just so you know how I'm gonna clean it up, I'm going to blow all this crap off of it with compressed air, and then I'm gonna take some Purple Power, Simple Green, something like that, squirt it into all the fins, and then take it to the hose and spray it loose. Before I actually wash it, I'm gonna leave the expansion valve on and then plug these 2. That way nothing gets in there. All right. We're all plugged up. I'm gonna go wash this guy up. We'll be back. Man, this GoPro is pissing me off. All right, so everything seems to be looking just fine. Got that guy tightened up, got our grommet back in place. I'll double check that one just to make sure, but I know I tightened that guy. And it's tough too. Bending it, yeah, it's tight. All right. Call me crazy, but I think it's back together. Our tube worked out just fine, almost unbelievably. Go ahead and get our plug out of here. Okay. Get the split case up here, clamshell, see if we can't get it back together. It's a little spacer that goes in between these 2 lines. Stupid line here comes up, goes through the case right here. And gets inserted. Like that. I wouldn't be doing this so delicately if the styrofoam inside of it wasn't falling apart. All right, it's back together. Let's get our clips on here. I'm gonna put the screws in first. All right, Again, hopefully this flashlight doesn't screw with everybody. So the last thing we took out or disconnected was that drain tube. So that'll be the first thing we reconnect. Put it on here. Okay, grommet is in all the way around. Now we can hook up this high side, which since I have it open, I'm gonna go ahead and swap out this O-ring. All right, union lunch break and Family Feud is over, so back to work here. I just want to take a quick second and say thanks for everybody checking out the channel. And if this helps you at all, the content, please hit that like and consider subscribing. Constantly doing projects like this, and anytime I find something that might be able to help somebody, I love to get it out there. With that said, the remainder of the reassembly is pretty straightforward, basically a reverse of disassembly. Since any line that you take apart in an AC system, if you've already got it apart, you might as well replace your O-rings. All right, so you can get kits like this at Harbor Freight or wherever, your local auto parts store, and they come with all the different O-rings. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace the ones that didn't come with new parts. Like this new dryer actually has a new O-ring right on it. And when I go to put that in, I'll put that in. When you put these new O-rings in, or put a new O-ring in, put a little bit of your PAG oil on that O-ring. I pulled the vacuum on this before I went and broke the whole system open just to see if it's leaking down, and I got negative 28 inches of mercury vacuum on it, and shut off the valves, and over the course of a half hour it dropped to about negative 20 inches of mercury. So not exactly ideal, and it kind of stabilizes there, so it tells me whatever leak it is, it's very, very minor, and it's only under those extreme pressures that it has an issue. So hopefully, by going through all these pieces right here, now I don't plan on getting the condenser broken open. I don't even want to deal with that. I am going to dump a little bit of oil in the return line, the low pressure return line, the bigger line here. That's our low pressure. You can see where the blue fitting is, because I know I had little bits here and there, drip out during this process. It won't take much. I mean, you could, drain the whole system, flush the whole system, all that. I don't plan on doing that. I just plan on getting it, that's dirty. I just plan on making sure it's got a little bit extra in there. So for the remainder of this video, I'm just gonna be swapping out these O-rings and putting everything back together. I will skip forward into parts that I think are important, okay? All right, now we're gonna get this dryer installed. And when you do this, you wanna make sure you get the system closed back up as soon as possible. This dryer will soak up humidity. You don't want that. So it's labeled in and out. So just match that up with your old one, the way it goes in the bracket. All right, so and I'll probably just leave that just a smidge loose. That way I can adjust it once it's in there. So in this case, if you remember during disassembly, I had to take the whole bracket off so that I could get it off of that line, because that line's fixed. You can't really move it one way or the other. So I am going to try to put new O-rings on here, make sure they're all clean. Try to do this as quick as possible. Open up one side, this plug out of here, slip her down in here. Let's see how that fit. That O-ring feels like it's pretty good actually, so we're good on that side. Now again, remember, these fittings are not what tighten anything down. All they're doing is keeping the hose and the O-ring seated inside there. You can tighten those down all you want, it's not going to change your seal. So the whole thing's put back together now. Before I kept reassembling the inside and the outside, I went ahead and put a vacuum on it, and that way I could leak check it while I was reassembling everything. I kept it nice and quiet here in the barn, listening for leaks. I put negative 28 inches on it, and it's been, I don't know, probably close to 40 minutes, and I think we're still at, we'll call it 27, negative 27 inches. So I'm gonna call that good for now. One thing I did notice that may or may not be useful, it definitely helped me, because I actually forgot to tighten that sleeve bracket on the dryer, but there's actually a little access right here that you can see the dryer right there. See the shiny dryer up there, and you can access that 8mm bolt on that bracket from the grill up front with just a couple extensions. So other than that, everything up top here went back together fine. All the connections seem to be good. Had to kind of wrestle these lines a little bit just to get them bent back into position, but that all went together fine. Of course, my positive terminal went and snapped on me. Go figure. I'm not He-Man either. It's just junk these days. Inside's all back together, no issues there. It was pretty simple. Just follow your reverse order. So from here, it's just a matter of recharging the system and checking it out. So I'll be doing that off camera. You guys could, you know, if you can do it, great. If not, take it to a shop, whatever. You know, if you put a vacuum on it, you probably have the ability to refill it yourself. But you definitely want to put a vacuum on it before you fill it, all right? Don't just put it back together and throw a charge in there. That's not how the system's designed to work. But hey, appreciate y'all checking out the video. Hopefully that helped. Again, please hit that like and subscribe if it did help. I'm constantly doing projects like this. If you got any questions or comments, please throw it down there in that comment section. I get back to anybody and I'll answer anything to the best of my capability. And always remember, keep pulling on the bootstraps.